The world watches in horror. Ukraine is ablaze. Russia invaded in 2022 and the fighting hasn't stopped. Millions of Ukrainians fled their homes, cities lie in ruins, the death toll climbs every day. It's a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions. But how did we get here? Well, it's a long story. Ukraine, once part of the Soviet Union, declared independence in 1991. Russia never really accepted this. They saw Ukraine as part of their sphere of influence. Fast forward to 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula. They also supported separatists in eastern Ukraine. The world condemned these actions, but the conflict simmered. Then, in 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion. Their goal? To conquer Ukraine and topple its government. The world responded with sanctions and military aid to Ukraine, but the fighting continues, with no end in sight. The human cost of this war is immeasurable. Thousands of innocent civilians have been killed. Homes, schools, and hospitals have been reduced to rubble. The world watches in horror as this tragedy unfolds. Amidst the chaos and destruction, one question lingers: who is to blame for this senseless war? Former US President Donald Trump has never been one to shy away from controversy. And in the case of the Russia-Ukraine war, he's stirring the pot once again. Trump recently made headlines by placing the blame for the war squarely on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. That's right, you heard that correctly. Trump believes Zelenskyy provoked Russia into invading. According to Trump, Zelenskyy should have known better than to stand up to Putin. He argues that Ukraine should have just surrendered and let Russia take what they wanted. Trump even went so far as to say that Zelenskyy should have made a deal with the devil, offering Putin Ukrainian minerals in exchange for peace. Trump's comments have been met with outrage and disbelief from many quarters. Critics point out that Russia was the aggressor, invading a sovereign nation without provocation. They argue that blaming Zelenskyy for Russia's actions is not only absurd, but also dangerous, as it lets Putin off the hook for his aggression. Trump's supporters, however, applaud his willingness to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. They see his comments as a refreshing departure from the usual diplomatic platitudes. Love him or hate him, one thing is for sure: Trump knows how to get people talking. In the face of Trump's accusations, Zelenskyy remains defiant. He has repeatedly stated that Ukraine did not want this war and is merely defending itself from Russian aggression. Zelenskyy has called for international support to help Ukraine resist the invasion and has pleaded for a negotiated settlement to the conflict. He has also criticized Trump's comments, calling them delusional and dangerous. Zelenskyy argues that Trump's rhetoric only emboldens Putin and undermines efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Despite the ongoing fighting, Zelenskyy has not given up hope for peace. He has proposed a peace plan that includes a ceasefire, the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukrainian territory, and international security guarantees for Ukraine. While it remains to be seen whether Zelenskyy's peace plan will gain traction, his commitment to finding a diplomatic solution to the conflict is unwavering. He has shown remarkable resilience and leadership in the face of adversity, becoming a global symbol of resistance against tyranny. The blame game between Trump and Zelenskyy highlights the deep divisions that exist over the war in Ukraine. These divisions are not just limited to these two leaders, but extend to the global community as a whole. Some countries have been steadfast in their support for Ukraine, providing military and humanitarian aid. Others have been more hesitant, calling for a negotiated settlement but stopping short of condemning Russia's actions. The war in Ukraine is a complex and multifaceted conflict with no easy solutions. It is a tragedy for all involved, but especially for the Ukrainian people who are caught in the crossfire. As the war drags on, it is important to remember that behind the political posturing and the blame game, there are real lives at stake. The international community must work together to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict and to provide humanitarian assistance to those affected by the fighting. The future of Ukraine and indeed the world may depend on it.